2025. Okay.
Oh, I think we already read this, but we can read it again.
Greetings in the love and light of the infinite creator. I'm Andrii, and joined here by Ed, Fred, Bill, Adam, and Grace. And we'll be reading July 2nd, 2025 session. And it's about war and things like that. Very interesting. Yeah, thank you. Speaking to the influences on our planet that contribute to our situation of bellicosity, which means violence, it was hoping to explore the ideas of thought forms. One of the benefits of channeling, I think, is being able to get a glimpse at the metaphysical dynamics of what's going on in the surface. And so, from your perception, is there what you maybe call a single massive thought form present on our planet that is both formed by and also contributes to these cycles of bellicosity in our planetary population? I'll just leave it at that. Okay, go ahead, Bill.
Okay, we thank you.
Oh, sorry.
How far? Okay,
there we go.
We thank you for this penetrating question into the metaphysical underpinnings of your planetary experience, and would offer that your supposition is not incorrect. The accumulation of cycles of violence and retribution and warfare upon your world have to do and do create something of a psychic entity upon the time-space realms. It is, as you surmise, that which is fed by frequencies of hatred and separation and domination. And it is that which is a beacon of such energies for those who, in their own work and consciousness, or lack thereof, become susceptible to tuning themselves to this frequency, is that they may be so fed and inspired, and even become an agent or a channel of this war-beingness that exists in your world from a more mythological perspective. One can even assign to this entity an anthropomorphized persona. Can you scoot it up? Call it God of War, or one could, from a more psychological perspective, see it as an archetype. It is a substantial presence, shall we say, in the collective mind, and it is not without agency, but it is also not independent of the collective mind. It is not an entity which has arrived from an external or outer planes source with a mission to seed and to sow war among your peoples. It is the living shadow of your own world, which, as energies are wont to do, seeks also its own preservation and seeks to avoid the light in order that this disharmony may continue, that it may live through the energy fields and behaviors of third world densities upon your world and feed, as it were.
Like loosh.
Yeah. We would add an unrelated caveat about this channeling, and that is that the inspiration we hope to offer to the seeker is that which we hope empowers the seeker to become a curious being and to bring the light and the love of the conscious awareness into the shadows of their own being as well. Is there another query to which we may transmit our thoughts?
It's a conscious being, but yes.
Oh.
All right, so that was short but sweet. Okay, someone wanted to say something? Go ahead.
I put my hand up, Andrii.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Bill, for reading, and thank you, Andrii, for reading. So I noticed right at the beginning that, are we reading a channeling from Quo? Sorry, I missed that.
Yes, July 2nd, okay. 2025.
Which is very recent. Okay, so I know this is something that I've started to notice the more that I've been on these meetings and these gatherings, and what I've been reading myself is that, so I'm just going to go with what I was going to say first. The word underpinnings really stuck out to me. And so the way that I understand the word underpinnings and what it means, like the first meaning usually is because I have family from a construction background. It's like, that's like, if you don't have the underpinnings properly in place for the structure that you are going to build above ground, supporting how high it's going to be, it's not going to be stable. Right. And this can also be applied to like a psychological aspect, a mind aspect, or, and this is something that I've noticed with being in these meetings and these readings that have been happening, is that Quo will also use would you call it like a double negative, where it's like, I'm not saying that it's this, and I can't remember what was read, but it's not stating it outright, but it's saying, we're not saying that, blah, 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 blah. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, sometimes they can be very cautious in how they phrase things.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, because they said supposition is not incorrect. That's what they're saying. That is a
Right.
double negative.
Yeah, right. Okay. Thank you. That's all I really wanted to say. And again, I'm just always so grateful to be here. So thank you for reading, and thank you to everyone for being here.
Yes. All right. And so it is the living shadow of your own world.
I was going to say something.
Go ahead, Ed.
I was just going to say that I think that it really quite beautifully lays out the idea of an egregor, and the idea of, everyone putting in their own faith to a specific ideal, and then that essentially gives life to that ideal as a thought form in a grander sense. The more people put in their thoughts to that form, the greater it becomes, the more sentient it becomes, therefore giving it life, giving it the ability to kind of influence world events. And essentially the food that it needs to eat, that it's always been fed, is the sacrifice that people make during war, so it perfectly describes how we have invented that creature with our social memory, as it were, all putting together the bellicosity and the anger and the war and the killing and whatever else, all those things adding up together, building this entity.
Yes.
That then that it then has a life of its own, that then kind of feeds back to influence us. But they said it didn't come from anywhere else. It's kind of born from our warlike consciousness. But it is an entity nevertheless. Purely for me, that's Tulpa creation. That is full on egregor creation. That is us building that thing as a thought form until it has the power to then influence us in a kind of big causal loop.
Bouncing off that, I'd just like to say it is a thought form and it is out there, but I think it can be easily gone away as well if people stop thinking that way. As easy as it was created, I think it can be as easily destroyed, because that's how thought forms are.
Yes, that's a good point.
Well, generally, people stop feeding it energy, the thing dies. That's how they work.
Yes.
Whenever you create a servitor or you create a tulpa, you give it a way of feeding itself, so that it doesn't die off randomly because it's made of your thought. So, in the past when I've done it before, I found actually making a servitor quite kind of draining, because you have to kind of give it some energy in order for it to do its job. Either that, or you give it a way of feeding itself. But you have to be really careful with how you feed it. So if you were to say, I'm going to feed you all my negative energy, and then happy days, that just eats or whatever, it will then go and start messing your life up, so you have more negative energy to feed it. So you have to be really careful with how you utilize those things. So us subconsciously building this thing with all of the war and all the hate and all the anger and all the whatever, all of those things have built this entire creature that is now its own thing, and it will go to do whatever it needs to do to get its food. To kind of manipulate us into wanting more war, into killing each other, the same way that the space pirates are doing. Everyone's monopolizing on the fall of the Luciferian and them all leaving, by all of this loose gathering. Like that is what it is, straight up. Like, and that weird god we've created that wants us to kill everything. It's just as guilty as eating that stuff that we're making as the space pirates or whoever else is fucking harvesting what I want out of our anger.
And that's why these ideas of apocalypse and prophecies of doom are so counter, just so counter to the light that it really has tripped up our entire planet, especially, from the three Abrahamic religions that have been pumping out this stuff for thousands of years. So this entity of doom this thought form is quite relevant. And I think it's because of the wanders and all these light forces that have been incarnated in here recently that have been countering that thought form.
Yes. All the people who are saying, no, we're not gonna do us versus them. We're gonna do let's love everybody, let's forgive everybody, let's be kind to everybody. We can acknowledge the truth, and we can admit, yes, they did that, but we still have to love them. We still have to be kind to them. We still have to forgive them and wish them well, because they are us and we are one. Yeah. And it says, it is not without agency, but it is also not independent of the collective mind. It is not an entity which has arrived from external or outer plane source. It is a living shadow of your own world, as energies are wont to do, seeks also its own preservation, so does seek its own preservation, and seeks to avoid the late in order that this disharmony may continue, that it may live through the energy fields and behaviors of third density entities upon your world and feed, as it were.
So what does that kind of mean when it says, go back up a little, when it says, it says, you just
okay,
that it's not a gosh, you went too fast. I lost it.
Sorry.
Okay. It's all right. Oh, right there. It says, and is not without agency, but it is also not independent of the collective mind. So what does that kind of mean?
All right. Grace, go ahead.
Thank you so much for calling on me, Andrii. So what you said, Bill, that when you said, like, what is that all about? Because when that was read, I was like, oh, okay. So, no, I've lost it. So the only thing that's coming to mind is I saw a video today of so there are birds who fly in the V formation. I hope this is going to make sense to somebody. There are birds that fly in the V formation, and then the one at the front will fall back, and they all kind of, but then you have like this huge mass of birds, and there's no V formation, and they're just flying, and they're creating like sacred geometry shapes with their flock and how they fly through the sky. So I feel like it's malleable. This negative collective and this positive collective, like it's one and the same, and it's malleable, right? Depending on what is feeding it. And there's no trip switch. It just keeps going back and forth. Does that make any sense at all?
Yes. Because, basically this God of War thought form is not merely symbolic or poetic. It has real metaphysical weight in the collective unconsciousness of humanity. Every war, every act of domination, every vibration of hatred contributes energy to it. Over millennia, such a pool of thought energy grows into something substantial with its own persistence and influence. It's like a storm cloud, just like you were saying, those birds, made of countless droplets, yet are able to move and shape weather patterns on its own. Not without agency. Agency here means that the thought form doesn't just sit there. It influences. It whispers into hearts closed by fear, nudges minds towards separation, amplifies tendencies already present within individuals and societies. This is why Halos describes it almost as a being. It seeks its own preservation. It feeds on our vibrations. It acts as a beacon for those attuned to anger, supremacy, or vengeance. Like a feedback loop, the more attention it gains, the more it inspires, and the cycle deepens. not independent of the collective mind. Here lies the crux. Though it has agency, it has no sovereignty of its own. It cannot exist without the collective contribution of human thoughts and actions. It is our creation, our shadow. Unlike a true external entity, this being is woven out of humanity's unhealed wounds. If humanity were to shift its collective vibrations towards forgiveness, compassion, unity, the god of war would wither, for it has no independent source of life. It is, in essence, our mirror. Spiritual implications. This teaching invites us not to fear this presence, but to take responsibility for it. Just as personal shadows dissolve when brought into loving awareness, so too can collective shadows be healed when enough individuals embody the vibration of light. Each time you feel irritation, judgment, or anger, ask, am I feeding the god of war? Can I instead feed the god of love? By reclaiming sovereignty over our inner field, we starve the collective shadow and empower the collective light. In short, the god of war is both an echo of humanity's past and a sculptor of humanity's present. Yet it is bound to us. Like a shadow to its walker, we carry the power to withdraw its sustenance, not through battle, but through conscious love. All right. Well, I hope that...
That's helpful.
Awesome.
Good.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So basically,
Mhm.
we change what's in the mirror. We change what the mirror is reflecting ourselves. We change the mirror.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is the initial summary. It says
Be the
recognize
change you want to see in the world, right?
exactly.
Like
Be the
Gandhi said.
change. Being is more important than doing. It can be hard to grasp sometimes, and sometimes you want to do stuff, but also you have to be.
Well, that's the never-ending trying to come to know the self.
Yeah.
Once
There's a
you-
balance. There's a
Yeah.
balance.
When you're consciously trying to know the self, then you will know that there is a beingness of you that you do not have to do anything. If you can accept your beingness, which is ultimately love, the Creator's love. That's what we are.
Mhm. Here, recognize the psychic entity of war. The accumulation of cycles of violence and retribution and warfare upon your world have and do create something of a psychic entity upon the time-space realms. Okay, yeah, we'll cover that. Has no power outside of participation, is not independent of the collective mind. It is the living shadow of your own world. It seeks also its own preservation and seeks to avoid the light. Just as trauma resists healing within the psyche, the war-beingness resists love and awareness. Shine light into your own shadows. This is how collective healing begins. And this is so true. I read a book about someone who tried to, the whole book was like trauma without forgiveness. And like, because they thought forgiveness was bad. And basically what was happening is that these people were just living in trauma, and it was just causing them physical problems decades later, because they refused forgiveness. And there is this kind of resistance to healing it, because people get addicted to that trauma and then just like keep it around, because once they forgive and let go, then they feel like they've lost a part of themselves, even though that part was, well, the trauma. Okay.
You can kind of go past the forgiveness if you can go directly into the love. If you can do that, skip.
But you've basically accomplished the forgiveness, then, haven't you?
Well, you would have to, because once you're in that kind of love, you're in a kind of acceptance mode. And
otherwise, it's called spiritual bypassing.
Yes,
and that is double trauma.
Yes, double trouble.
I like that. Wasn't there a gum called that? Like double bubble. Okay. I'll mute myself now.
It's good. It's good. Okay, so it seeks also. Okay, yes. So empowerment through conscious awareness. We hope to offer inspiration that empowers the seeker to become a conscious being and to bring the light and the love of conscious awareness into the shadows of their own being. Each act of self-awareness and love within the individual is a rebellion against the psychic inertia of war. Your inner work is planetary work. Naming the archetype. One could assign this entity an anthropomorphized persona. Understand the myths and archetypes are not fantasy, but maps of the collective unconscious. Naming this energy helps us witness and transmute it. All right. So here, I'll get it to make an image for this, and then we'll move on to the next section because I think it's related.
Hey,
Go
I
ahead.
put in the comments kind of what I meant. It's a quote by Hatan.
Go ahead, read it out.
It says,
Oh,
to forgive completely is to remove karma from the situation. To love completely is to be free.
Very good. Very good. That reminds me of the
That's
truth
a
shall.
thought.
That reminds me of the truth shall set you free,
mm.
and how Jesus said, "I am the truth, the way, and the life." And what does it mean to become Christ-like? Is to forgive, to love, to be kind. And so,
Well, truth is love. Truth
Mhm.
is
Light.
the unconditional love of the Creator. That's
Mhm.
the ultimate truth. That's why we're existing. We're existing and experiencing and learning because the Creator wants to know itself, and it's done through its unconditional love for its creation.
Mhm.
That's the foundation.
All right. So let's do the next one. Yeah, a quick one. In the spirit of what you just said, and hoping to not explore fear or anything like that, but to better understand the dynamics so that we can offer it our love and light, are there higher density beings on the negative path that have consciously attempted to contribute and energize this psychic entity, as you called it? Bill?
Okay. We are Halos, and we thank you for the introduction of this word fear, for it is an integral and key aspect of understanding the genesis and existence and purpose of the collective pull, if you will, of that which inspires violence between peoples and organized crimes against one another. Hey, did we skip over something? Because I thought, oh, okay.
No, I think no. This is.
Okay, never mind. I'm okay. Indeed, this resource, shall we say, or we take a step back and correct this instrument, this beingness serves as an exquisite resource for our negatively orientated friends of the higher densities, which are invested in increasing a negative harvest and steering your world of the third density Earth away from global harmony and unity and toward the establishment of the negative variety of hierarchy through the encouragement of factions and dominance, be that on the level of the invading military, the invading and occupying military force, the economic warfare, which keeps those of your peoples enslaved, or the attempt to spread a religious philosophy which seeks to convert and demand obedience, and so on and on. This archetypal energy of warfare, living within the shadows of the collective mind, is that which can be manipulated and stimulated, and which offers a doorway into the immune system of the planet, as you may see in metaphor. It is, at heart, a shifting concentration of energy, and it attracts those stories of past wrongdoings, of past injuries to itself that animate and energize these stories for who, having experienced pain or become victim of one variety or another, or who, in general, experience a closing of the heart, may be latched onto, shall we say, by these energies. These energies can be invasive in a way, which is not, from our perspective, to suggest that the third density entity is ultimately not responsible for their vibratory field, or that their deepest, most sacred, and sovereign free will may be overridden at whim. It is only to say that with less conscious development and less metaphysical charge or power within the third density entity, that these energies may invade the thinking, as does the virus, which infects the mind and thought forms and ideology, which encourages supremacy of self against other self in a variety of ways. One of the most insidious being that known to you has the holy war, which has the power to energize a great passion from the harming of others in the name of that which is perceived to be sacred. We are halos, and we would ask if there's a final query to which we may respond before transferring our contact.
All right. Well, there was a lot there, so let's unpack that. Here. So I think they're trying to ask about the. Oh. Okay. Anyways. What are they trying to ask? Okay, guys. Well, what are your reflections? Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. But here.
These. Yeah, go on.
Oh, do you go start off by going into the idea of fear?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, so anyways, I was thinking in terms of Austin, they may have been interested in the idea of, the space pirates, because you know what, like that was in the Confederation contact earlier when we were talking to Kuo, and they were talking about the space pirates, and now they're asking Halos, and Halos is not mentioning anything about the space pirates. It's saying that the god of war is just a thought form that is a compilation of our bellicosity over the millennia. And so this is kind of a different
he did
perspective.
especially ask about that, whether there was a god of war. He didn't ask about the space pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're kind of looking at it from our perspective. It's like saying, blaming everything on Satan or the devil when really, blaming on something external when they're telling us, no, if there is a Satan or there's a devil, look in the mirror. You're it, or you're creating it.
Yes, exactly. And I know here this the Holy War bit, it just reminded me of the Peter Seelig contact, and how they were saying, or Melchizedek, that it's basically a flawed idea in terms of that the idea that someone is not divine is itself heresy. So the whole idea of a holy war, that something is not sacred, is the problem. And because you have to recognize that everything is God, that everything is worthy of love and kindness.
But you got to remember, the Confederation would never put it that way.
Why wouldn't they, though?
Because that would mean that you're interfering with how another person is seeing how the creator is. They might see it in a totally wrong way, but it's not ours to interfere with their perception of it at that time. Because then, they gotta come to the idea that that everything is sacred on their own. And if people don't feel that way, it's not heresy. It's just they have that perspective right now. You got to give them the good love and compassion, and hey, that's where they are on their journey right now. Who am I to be interfering? Because these people will die, and
fair enough. Yes, yeah,
they'll recycle, they'll reincarnate,
yes.
And hopefully they can figure it out later.
Yeah, I guess it's because Melchizedek or whatever, they're an inner plane source, and so they have more leeway in what they're allowed to.
I think they're more fanatical.
You think they're more fanatical?
Absolutely, yeah. They're not like the Confederation higher densities. They just haven't gotten to that place yet, or they haven't gone through the experiences those have.
You think they're just kind of a lower lower
No,
density.
well, a lot of the inner planes beings, even at the higher density, I don't think they've done the incarnating going into third density like the higher Confederation unit social memory complexes have.
So you mean like incarnation, like level 5?
No, I'm meaning like third density incarnation where they haven't experienced the veil.
I don't know. I don't think Melchizedek doesn't seem to me to be like a low density source.
It's not, but I'm saying it just hasn't experienced what the others have.
I don't know. Have you read it, The Contact?
Which one? No, I haven't, but I heard Selig a bunch of times.
Paul Selig, yes, exactly. That's what I meant.
But what you're describing just to me right there doesn't make sense.
Okay. Well, here maybe I could get the.
If you put it in the context.
Yeah, I think that maybe I was describing it because I'm a fallible third density entity. And so maybe the way that I described it was the fallible way, but certainly I wouldn't say that of the original source. I don't have them close at hand, unfortunately. Yeah. Oh, here. Maybe I can ask ChatGPT. Hey, can you tell us Paul Selig contacts take on Holy War? Here. Okay, I have to think. Okay, searching for Paul Selig. Okay. Because I have the books on my phone. Oh, but I haven't converted all of them. Okay, here.
What you were kind of saying, just to say something's not sacred is kind of heresy.
Well, basically, they were saying that sin is denying the divine.
And that's okay. You can go incarnation after incarnation denying the divine. I mean, you're not going to spiritually evolve quickly.
Well, right.
So wait a minute. I'm confused. So if I commit a sin, I'm denying the divine?
That's what basically what they were saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, because they're going at it from the perspective of they're addressing someone who wants to be on the service to others path, and so they're helping that person on the service to others path.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes,
But
yes.
they're
yes,
not
yes,
saying it.
It's like a little bit of guidance, like
yes,
a little
exactly.
bit of like, yeah. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Here.
Okay, they're establishing ethics.
Right. So here, this is what ChatGPT has to say about it. Okay, in Paul Selig's channeling the guides, anything called a holy war is a contradiction in terms. In their teaching, war is equal to separation. The guides frame war as the outpicturing of the belief that we are separate from the divine in ourselves and in one another. As long as we agree to separation, we keep recreating conflict. Peace is consciousness, not a ceasefire. They say peace is the state of awareness that won't even permit the idea of war to arise. In that awareness, holy war cannot be coherent because holiness recognizes the divine in all parties. This is what I was, trying to convey here. Transformation is by attunement, not opposition. The guides teach that what moves the world from war to peace is a level of consciousness that cannot adhere to war. The work is to align to truth, the divine, and to re-know the self and others in that field, like re-know all as divine. Collective accountability. They also press on the tendency to disown our part. I didn't create this war. The point us back to the inner agreements that perpetuate what we see out there. Holiness begins by withdrawing consent from fear and separation within. Bottom line, the guide's view. Holy war is an oxymoron. War is the demonstration of separation. Holiness is the recognition of the divine in all things. The remedy isn't to sanctify conflict, but to attune to a consciousness that makes war unthinkable, and to act from the alignment in that world.
That was so beautiful, ChatGPT. So
Yeah.
what this brings to mind for me is like the words that came to mind for me, like, because we hear about all like, oh, this person died for this cause and for this cause. Like, I don't have a cause. There's no cause. If someone is going to kill me because they think that I'm opposing them, I'm not opposing anything. I actually don't agree with one side or the other, because all I agree with is love. And if you want to kill me for loving, then please, if you feel that you need to do that, then that's the cause that I'm going to die for. Like, okay,
Right.
Thank you. This was so amazing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you doing there right now? Like, you're cultivating stuff. It's so cool.
Oh, he's trying to unmute.
I am going through all my crystals because I got some new crystals today. So I'm just kind of organizing them all together in their little groupings. Because
Amazing. I love crystals. So cool. So cool. Keep doing what you're doing. Okay, I'll mute myself now. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, we were also going to get a summary of what we read. Here we go.
No, that did clear it up. That was good.
Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, because maybe I just wasn't explaining it properly. Okay.
I'm not expecting anything. Just gonna go with the flow.
Yeah. And can I just add, Andrii, that you also have not been well lately.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm feeling
So,
better now, but yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong here. That's something that I was taught a few years ago during the pandemic. There's nothing wrong here. There's
Oh,
nothing
okay.
wrong here. And
Well,
I
I would
just felt need
phrase
to
it
share that.
more positively.
So tell me how you would phrase that. Tell me how you would phrase that.
All is well.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Beautiful. Oh, amazing. Thank you.
And we're just having a conversation.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for everyone in this group. I'm so grateful to all of you.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. So this is about the section we just read. Halos responds to query whether high-density negative entities consciously energize psychic entity of war. They reveal that indeed such beings do manipulate this archetypal presence. Who's speaking over there? Adam?
I think they've muted now, whoever it is.
Okay. All right. Yet they remind us the ultimate responsibility rests with each individual's vibratory field. By cultivating conscious awareness and love, seekers can guard their inner sovereignty and transform even the shadow of holy war into an opportunity for awakening. This beingness serves as an exquisite resource for our negatively oriented friends of the higher densities in steering your world away from global harmony and unity. Oh, so they did admit. Okay, cool. Fear is a gateway. We thank you for the introduction, for it is the integral and key aspect of our understanding the genesis and existence and purpose of this collective pool. Fear is the vibrational opening through which war thought forms and negative influences operate. Recognizing fear is the first step to transmuting it. The war archetype as a resource. This beingness serves as an exquisite resource for our negatively oriented friends of the higher densities. The god of war archetype is not only human-made, it is also exploited by those seeking dominance, hierarchy, and separation. Awareness of this helps us guard against manipulation. So this is kind of a tacit acknowledgement of those space pirates. The many faces of domination. Through the invading military, the economic warfare which keeps your peoples enslaved, or the attempt to spread a religious philosophy which seeks to convert and demand obedience. Violence wears many masks: military conquests, economic suppression, religious coercion. Recognizing these as distortions of love protects our discernment. Yeah, the economic warfare which keeps your people enslaved, Like, I mean, that is so big in so many countries. Like,
I think that's number one.
yeah, because it's
Because
like, so,
if people, when they're not economically or sound like that, then you can bring the fear in that creates the disunity.
mhm. Yeah, because people then they have red ray blockages if they have fear about not having the means of subsistence.
Yeah, fear of survival.
Yes, fear of survival. That's the core fear
Right.
that they're creating through
Yeah,
not
they're
having human right to land.
perpetuating.
Mhm.
It's already created. It's always there, but it can be it can be transmuted after a while.
Grace.
This is an interesting. What came to mind to me in this exchange after reading that text was between you and Bill, and it was yesterday I had to run an errand yesterday after work, and it just like on my travels, it just so happened I'm like, oh, I got off the streetcar. I'm looking. I'm like, um, I bet you, I'm pretty sure those are those are Jehovah's Witnesses doing service, right? I could just kind of tell from like the way they were standing and the stand that they had. And I started walking towards them like, oh my gosh, yes, it is. It is. Okay. So I walked right up and I was like, hello, good afternoon. And I said, I noticed your display here. Would I be able to, what I'm looking for is a most recent issue of the Watchtower. And if you have, what kind of tracts you have. And because I knew the language, because I've spent time at Kingdom Hall, I've had friends who were Jehovah's Witnesses and, had the opportunity to experience that spiritual place, right? That spiritual sort of, stage, I guess, right? And while I do not agree with everything that Jehovah's Witness, it's not for me, all of it is not for me, but I do believe that it is very important for me to see where spiritual people are right in this third density. So I because I knew the language, they didn't try to sell me anything. The ladies were like, oh yeah, here's the Watchtower. And I said, and they were like, oh, what kind of these are the tracts that we have. I said, oh, that one looks good. And could I have that one? And then they said, what about this one? This one might appeal to you. And I said, yes, I will take it. And the only thing that happened was one of the ladies said to me, she said, oh, this Saturday, we're having I think they call it like a meeting, a teaching, at this. I said, is that at this Kingdom Hall over here? She said, yes. I said, okay, I've never been to this one. I said, what time is that at? And she said, like, it starts at 10. I said, oh, unfortunately, I'll be working. I said, but I know that can I go on the website and find out, other? She said, yes, of course. They didn't try to sell me anything because I knew the language, right? And I didn't pretend to present myself as a Jehovah's Witness. I was really just interested in their literature, right? I am interested in all kinds of, spiritual, like I'm not closed to anything. And but I'm also not pigeonholed into anything. I believe that it all has value. So that's just what came to me. I just wanted to share that. I feel like I've been talking again a lot, so I will stop now. Thank you.
It's okay. It's okay. We appreciate your stories. So, yeah, just delving a little bit more onto the economic warfare which keeps you enslaved. Here we go. Enslavement without chains. Economic warfare does not usually look like armies and weapons. It looks like debt, scarcity, and systems designed to keep people striving for survival rather than awakening to freedom. When most of one's energy is spent in fear of not having enough food, shelter, healthcare, security, then little is left for reflection, community, or spiritual work. True slavery, in this sense, is not the lack of physical freedom, but the narrowing of consciousness by perpetual survival anxiety. The illusion of choice. A core tactic of this warfare is to present systems of scarcity as natural or inevitable. The individual may feel they are free to choose, yet the field of choice has already been rigged. Options are often reduced to compete or be left behind, obey or lose your livelihood, work endlessly or fall into poverty. This is enslavement masked as opportunity. The harvest of separation. From the Confederation lens, higher density negative beings thrive on energies of separation, hierarchy, and control. Economic systems that divide the haves from the have-nots become fertile fields of harvest. Halos names this when they say that the war-beingness is exploited through the encouragement of factions and dominance. Economic injustice is one of the most insidious ways factions are drawn and power consolidated. The self-perpetuating cycle. Economic warfare feeds the god of war archetype by fostering resentment between groups, normalizing exploitation, that's just business, turning human beings into resources measured by productivity or profit, and creating despair that breeds anger, which turns into fuel further separation. This is what caused the Nepal recent revolution there. Like the battlefield, the marketplace can become a theater of war, only the weapons are subtler. The way of the seeker. And what then does the seeker do? Awareness. Recognize the economic norms often serve control, not liberation. Compassion. See the dignity of every being, regardless of wealth or social position. Service. Support alternatives that honor cooperation, sustainability, and mutual flourishing. Inner liberation. Refuse to measure your worth by material accumulation. To see through the illusion of scarcity itself is a spiritual act of defiance against the psychic of entity of war. In short, economic warfare is war by subtler means, war on the spirit of unity, and yet, as with all distortions, its very presence become a catalyst, an invitation to recognize the falsity of enslavement, and to choose again and again the sovereignty of love. All right.
And that idea of scarcity is huge because, like, you go into any university and you start taking economics, the first thing they'll tell you about economics is that everybody wants everything, but there's only a limited amount of resources. So our very foundations are that of scarcity. It's literally a brainwashing plot since we're little. You know, our parents telling us no constantly. We can't have this. We can't have that. You know, so we're brought up to be in this limited mindset. So it really takes a lot to jump out of that scarcity mode and get you thinking into the magic of abundance, you know, if you will, because it's the reality.
Grace?
Thank you so much for that, Bill, and for that reading, Andrii. Today at work, there's a gentleman that comes by and he's always buying bananas. And he's like, I can tell from his physique that he's like some kind of, like, he's really into the gym, you know, building muscles, this like being strength, right? And it was interesting because my boss, the wife of the owner, happened to be there, and she's like, "Oh, I know it always seems like I'm buying bananas. I don't only eat bananas; like I eat a lot of the other things." But they got into a discussion about. So he's Romanian, and my boss, who is the husband, he's from he's Hungarian. And so the conversation started happening between the two of them, the lady who is the owner and the customer, about the scarcity, like having to line up for like 3 hours in, you know, the late 1980s before the Berlin Wall fell, about like just to get like maybe some sugar, right? Where there was this like. And I've never lived through that. Like my ancestors, my parents, my brother lived through that where we're from. You know, where there's just like, if you don't turn the soil today, you're going to starve kind of thing. And I've never experienced that. So it was interesting to me to hear something so recent, because for me, in my mind, I was like, oh, well, you know, that only happened, the most recent that happened was in the Cold War, you know, with Russia. So, yeah, this idea that it's, yes, it's manufactured, but in the third density, it's really happening. And what comes to mind for me as well is I recently heard a channeling I can't remember. It was Brian Scott on his page, Brian Scott, The Reality Revolution. He was talking about abundance, and it was a quote channeling, probably a more recent one. And he was saying how he's like, I know a lot of people lately, because I've been noticing the in the past months or 6 months, 8 months, a lot of his notifications that I get are like, build money, how to get money, how to money, wealth. But and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not a good thing for me. So I stopped listening and I started ignoring those. And then I finally just listened to one, like yesterday morning, and I played it again today. I was like, wait a minute, that's not what he's talking about. He's not talking about getting all the money. He's talking about like an energy around the third density, like system that we live in. And like, what if everybody had $1 billion? What would the world look like if everybody had $1 billion, right? And I feel like that, like there was something in that resonated with me, where it's like everybody suddenly becomes equal. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just wanted to share that. Please, Andrii, what do you have to add? I would love to hear. Please.
yeah. I was just, it's just like, this is a very common thought experiment, and many people have run it through in simulators and all that. And basically, if you give everyone just money, then what will happen is that within a few months or years, we'll be back to exactly the same place that we are now. Because the
Thank
problem,
you.
money itself is like vapor. It's meaningless. What matters is land. So it's the land that people need in order, because you can't provide yourself
Well,
with money. It's
it's not
actually the
even that,
land that
Andrii.
provides. Mhm.
It's not even that, Andrii. It's the idea of scarcity versus the idea of abundance. Because if we keep a framework, if we keep a positive mindset that abundance, like if you're manifesting, you're always going, and you want some, you really want to thrive, you think of abundance and you think of the feelings you get when you're in abundance. And it's see the idea of scarcity is exactly the same idea of the god of war. It's a mirror. We put out that mirror that we're in scarcity. We put out that mirror that we're in war. Then we're going to be in war and we're going to be in scarcity. So the idea is to turn around and remember that the Creator, through its unconditional love, through us, through our beingness, we are beings of abundance. And that's the mindset we that we're trying to have. It's not an idea about money or land, or it's an idea about abundance. Everything is there for us because we are the creator. We are the light. We are the love. That creative magic is within us, and that's what they try to stop from day one. If you really look at the negative side, they're always manifesting abundance, and they're doing it through power, control, and manipulation of others instead of just going, hey, we could be, all of us, we could be abundant.
I totally agree, dude. Like, one of the coolest things I think I've ever heard Saint Germain say was, "You are the opulent. You are the opulence of the Creator." I mean, it's one of the discourses. You are the pure opulence of the Creator. Why wouldn't you be?
And what does opulence means? Abundance is.
It's being surrounded by riches. It's being
okay, yeah,
opulent.
right. Okay.
Not needing to ever worry about money. Not needing to ever worry about any of those.
Right.
Such abundance. But it doesn't say rich. It doesn't mean your money. It doesn't mean whatever. It means that you can live however you want to live.
Right.
Because you are the opulence of the Creator.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's a serious mindset.
Here,
yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Occam's razor solution to economic warfare. Number
Oh, I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
Number one, right to land. With a small portion of land, every person can grow food, build shelter, and anchor sovereignty. Right to water. Access to water, especially the freedom to collect rainwater, which is, denied on the West Coast, ensures the survival is not contingent on external control. Without water freedom, land freedom is incomplete. Right to seeds and medicines from the earth. Seeds, herbs, and traditional knowledge are natural inheritance. When people can grow their own food and medicine, much of the pharmaceutical and industry enslavement dissolves. And this is also a big issue because right now, like Monsanto is like telling people like, oh, if your crops are Roundup resistant, then we own them. Even if you've been saving your own seed. Right to energy from sun, wind, and fire. Simple technologies, solar panels, small wind, wood, biogas allow people to power their lives without dependence on centralized systems that can be weaponized. So basically, these four would do it. Why this works. Food, shelter, water, medicine, and energy are the basic needs of life. Once met directly by the earth, humans cannot be easily coerced into debt slavery, wage exploitation, or ideological obedience. The thought forms of economic warfare starves when its leverage over basic survival is withdrawn. The seeker's perspective. Halos reminds us it is not to suggest that the third density entity is ultimately not responsible for the vibratory field. The real liberation is not only outer but inner. When survival anxiety softens, seekers can focus on consciousness, love, and unity. Simplicity itself becomes a spiritual shield, less to control, less to manipulate. So yes, in the simplest frame, the solution is this. Give each being a place to stand, the right to gather water, the seeds of life, and the rest flows. There you go.
And I would say the simplest solution is to have people be in the mindset of abundance.
Yes.
So wait a minute. On gathering rainwater is illegal on the West Coast.
In
America, in Oregon
America.
and stuff.
Yeah, in Oregon to California, all of those states.
I haven't heard it much in California.
Yeah, it's in California as well.
Oh,
you need a permit to collect rainwater.
And there's only so many permits, or you have to pay for a permit.
Well, you have to pay for a permit. You have to apply for a permit. You have to pay for a permit, and then you have to wait for them to approve your permit. And then if you collect rainwater without a permit, you go to jail.
And remember, a permit is like a license.
Yeah.
When you get a license, it's a privilege. And what they've done is they inverted rights into a privilege because there is no such thing as you not having a right to rainwater.
Right.
So what they'll say is, oh, it's a privilege that has to be regulated, which is, we have the legal framework in the United States where they already say Supreme Court, decisions and whatnot say you cannot invert a right to a privilege to make a license. So every time they do that, it's illegal.
But they do it anyways.
Because people don't stand up for the rights.
Well, and they can't because they go to prison.
They can't because they'll lose everything in the struggle. How many soldiers want to go down, right?
You got to do it right. You got to know how to do the right court procedure.
Well, there were, those old men that tried collecting that rainwater and they went to prison for it. So.
Yeah, but they didn't do the right legal process. I'll tell you that.
Right.
I've had 3 customers in the past 2 weeks, because we get a lot of tourists, right, who were from California. The first lady, she literally I saw her walk by, said hello to her. She came back a third time, and she said, she's like, I am so sad that I live in California. I cannot believe how horrible the quality of our produce is. I have been around this market for 2 days, walking around looking, and the quality of the produce here is I can't like I'm not healthy. We're not healthy. I can't feed my family healthy produce. She's like, the time that we've been here on vacation, I've been like lapping up all of the produce that I can for my family because I know I can't take any of it back. And I know when I get back there, like it's what we're eating is disgusting.
Wow.
And that was just the first lady. And then there were two others, not as, not as much of an honest emotional output and like transparency, but still the same message. And I thought, what? Like California? I mean, I know California goes along. It has a lot of different from north to south, right? A lot of different climates. But I was floored.
Yeah, it's Monsanto, the pharmaceutical. They're making laws like in places that you have to have animals injected with these GMOs and mRNA vaccines, just to be able to sell it.
Right.
So they've totally they're totally poisoning us down here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in California, Bill?
I'm in New Mexico. I grew up in California.
You're in New Mexico. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I spent the first 40 years of my life in California.
Wow.
Fred, you had your hand up? Did you want to add something?
Well, we were talking a little bit ago about collecting rainwater, and I know you're in Canada, but in America we have guns, and there's reasons that we have guns, and I know that happened in Colorado. I remember what you were talking about. It was a suburban area where the HOA or whatever was fining people for collecting rainwater in their rain barrels and everything. I don't live in a suburban area. I live in a rural area, and I know in rural areas we handle things a lot differently than just suburban areas, and this is in the United States. So about 15-ish years ago, we had an eminent domain project come into Columbiana County, which is the county south of me. And the eminent domain project was for a prison, a federal max security prison. And the government is allotted by Constitution, they're allowed to take between 1 and 800 acres of property. And I can't remember the conversions for 100 acres to hectares, Andrii.
It's okay. Don't
I'm
worry about it.
still struggling with the Fahrenheit Celsius thing. But so they had a council meeting and a town hall meeting and everything, several of them about it. And one of the families was going to have like 90% of their family's land taken away because of this eminent domain, and because they were going to take the full 800 acres. And so this 93-year-old woman went to one of the town hall meetings, and there was federal people there, discussing what their plans were for the construction and everything, and why they needed all this property, all this land. And she told them, you can try to take 800 acres, but we've offered to give you 100. If you take more than the 100, don't bring bulldozers, bring body bags. I'm 93. You're not going to take anything from me that I haven't already given to my family. They took 100 acres, not 800.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, I hear you. It's a crapshoot down there.
But you don't even have that option in Canada.
An armed society is a polite society.
Yeah. Well, actually, we actually have very high amount of firearms ownership. Almost everyone has one.
Really? Because I've been well, no,
in rural areas. In rural
areas, you're allowed. Okay.
Well,
okay.
You need a license or whatever, but most people do have one.
Okay.
It's not that
Good
hard.
to know. Thank you.
Yeah, and so lots of people have firearms, like my neighbor, and like everybody at my church has a firearm. They use for hunting, and
Right. Okay.
shooting pests and things like that. So
Right. Okay.
so it's like we do have plenty of firearms and things like that. It's just that usually in Canada things work differently in terms of that compassion is highly valued, and so it's like the most compassionate wins, especially in a court of law kind of perspective. And so it's a very compassion focused society. And so if someone is like outed as the less compassionate person, then they've lost in the exchange. At least that's been my experience. So it's like you could easily like lose face by being angry or argumentative. Then you've lost in the interaction.
Or you've lost in the court of public opinion.
Right. Yeah, that too. All our politicians are super polite, and they're honestly they're a uniparty. Like we could be the China CCP, and it would be no difference because they all have exactly the same talking points.
Yeah, you're politely stabbing each other in the back.
Well, it's just like we have a conservative party, but they're just like controlled opposition. They don't have any.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They don't have any different policies. They're just like the only difference is like, oh, we want a pipeline, and then the liberals are like, well, we don't want to.
We want to fund libraries, right?
or well, I don't know. Well, the Carney government is like, we're doing more work than ever, faster than ever, and then we're gonna have an announcement on Thursday about.
Was the Carney government even voted in?
Yes, well, they were voted in because Pierre.
By who?
But by the people of Canada.
You guys had an actual general election.
Yeah,
Yep,
we actually have legitimate
happened.
elections. Yep. We actually have legitimate elections that are much less contentious than the ones in the U.S.
Well, did you use a lot of voting machines?
I don't know. Everything is paper. Everything is paper ballot.
Oh my God, that's right. We do everything by paper. Everything is paper.
Yeah, everything we do in Canada is by paper. We don't have voting machines. There's always a paper record of everything. There are pencils, but they also have pens. It's just like whatever you want.
That's awesome, Andrii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyways, so yeah, it is very fair. It's just that there isn't any real choice because both parties are exactly the same stooges. And so like for instance, like one of the big issues during the elections was immigration, and our liberals guys were like, yeah, we should limit immigration. And then the conservative guys were like, oh yeah, we're going to, how we're going to solve immigration? We're going to expedite citizenship. So you can get citizenship in 6 months. It's like, what? How's that helping the immigration problem? It's like,
that's such a Canadian thing to do. It's like, welcome and welcome again.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like there was no tough on immigration party. Like that was nothing like that. Actually, our what do you call it? Our ultra far right party, the PPC, all of them live in America. They don't even live in Canada.
So wait a minute. What's this part? I've never heard of PP. Who are they? I've never heard of that.
They're the People's Party. That
that one. Okay.
Right. He used to live in Quebec, but now he lives in Florida.
Yeah, one that looks like the one that everybody looks at like, oh, that's the cartoon characters and how they looked in the first season of The Simpsons, right?
Right, something like that. Anyway, so most of them live in America. And then, like, during the election, they wanted to come to Canada. They were denied entry. It's like, well, you live in America. Why are you running for office in Canada? So, anyways, they were the only ones that had the American-style policies. Anyway, so it's a different place here, is what I was trying to say. And it is very peaceful. And shockingly, recently, the Toronto police has come out and said that crime has dropped by 40 to 50% over the last year in Toronto. So, something's happening. And I think it has to do with like light workers like us, promoting peace, love, and kindness and forgiveness and all those good virtuous things. And because like our media isn't allowed to say anything bad or mean or anything like that. We don't have it's also peace, love, kindness focused. There's no retribution, and like nobody goes to jail. Like almost nobody ever goes to jail unless they're like a political prisoner. um so it's like our prison system is just kind of like a revolving door. But
Yeah, there's a lot of I see a lot of rhetoric online about bail reform and they'll just be out in another week to do it again. Like, how did this person get out and they did this?
yeah, it's
yeah,
just so
but
basically like 80% of crimes are done by the same few people.
that's right. Yeah.
Who are just being released and re-released. It's just that, like, I think the judges and like it's just we kind of have like an outdated system where the judges know that the prison isn't going to help them, and so they just kind of release them because it's just a drain on the taxpayer. Like,
And
you're just
there's
giving them
no, you're
free
right. You're
food
right,
and
Andrii. There's no the programs in the programs in the jail to help the reform, to prevent recidivism. It's
recidivism.
just not
Yeah,
there. It's not there.
yeah,
It's not there.
they don't
Like
work.
these kids or whoever are going to go to jail, and they're actually going to be worse in jail because now it's like you need to fight this guy until you like can't get up anymore, or we're going to beat the shit out of you. What kind of choice is that, right?
What
Yeah.
do they do about violent offenders?
Oh, they just released them.
Oh yeah.
They just released them again, and
They
then
just
like
go right out on bail, right out on bail,
they
right out
just
on bail.
commit some more violence, and
Mhm.
then they get arrested again, and
Yeah.
eventually
Yeah,
someone
and-
tells them
and-
about Jesus or something, because like
Until they-
that's the only thing that actually helps. know.
They
Right,
keep releasing
exactly.
them until they kill a Ukrainian refugee on a train. Then
That
they,
happened in America,
I know.
right? But it doesn't happen in Canada. Like our terrorists refuse to kill anybody. Like we had this case of a dude who brought a machine gun to this massive concert, like under coercion or something, and then they just like shot at an empty stage or something. They said that everyone was too nice, that they weren't willing to actually kill anybody because Canadians are just
Right?
too polite.
I had two customers in the store today. It was a couple, two gentlemen, and I was just my polite Canadian self, just my customer service, and they went away. Like, I greeted them, I guided them to what they wanted, and then the one gentleman turned to his partner. He said, "Oh my, we finally found people like us." And I was like, wait a minute, like, I don't hear an accent. Like, where are they from? And I asked, I said, can I ask you, where are you visiting? Like, where are you? They're like, we're from Paris. We're French from Paris. And you are so nice. You are just like, and I was like, oh my, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's like, oh, welcome to Canada. It's
right,
like,
welcome to Canada. Like, yes.
yeah. Everyone here is nice. It's
Everyone here is nice. And then he ended up asking me, he was like, excuse me, do you have any chives? Like, we need chives. I said, oh my gosh, we don't have any chives. And he's like, don't even worry about it. We'll make it work. I'm like, oh my gosh, this couple from Paris is nicer than I am as a kid. It was just, yes. So yeah, everybody just gets released on bail. Like, that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you have no murders or rapes up there?
Very few.
They happen, but
They happen.
not
know,
like,
not like in
no.
Britain. I don't know, like something. I don't know how, but we don't seem to have the problems that they have in the UK. But it's like it has to do with the culture. It's like a very different culture, and here it's just like.
Well, Sweden is the number one for rape. They said by the time a girl's 16, like 20% of them have been raped.
What?
Right. Yeah, it's terrible in
insane.
Europe, and
That's in Sweden. It's been going on for a long time too.
Well, several years, anyways. Yeah. Since the Syrian War.
No, it's before the Syrian War.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Afghanistan? Since Afghanistan, then?
It's since they've been letting all the foreigners in.
Well, if Afghanistan, the
in
Afghanis
90s,
are like 80%.
lots of Africans too.
Like yeah, but I know of Afghanistan and Africa. Like basically, those are the main problem ones that
and Muslim too.
Right. Well, yes, they are Muslim. Well, basically, they're circumcised and all that. I think that part of it is also that Canada has. Well, it's just this the circumcision. It dulls the sensation in their penis, and so it makes it easier for them to rape people. And the vast majority of rapes are conducted by circumcised people. And
really, oh my gosh, I did not know that.
Oh yeah. I mean, statistically, it's mostly Muslims and Jewish people, and well, they're all circumcised. And it's also that they can't please themselves, and so they're always seeking to penetrate something or someone.
Right. It's like a power domination thing.
Yes, but it's also because they're missing, 30% of their penis. Sensation.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, and so they feel unwhole, and they're trying to.
But people don't realize that when you circumcise a male, you're removing 1/3 of all of the sensory input from his pleasure center. If you could imagine, as a female, having 1/3 of your clitoris burned off or cut off, that's what circumcised male endures.
Yeah, I've heard of that happening with women in certain countries and certain states where it's like and I'm like, I can't even imagine, like, especially when I learned that like the so it's the same thing, like it's very apparent in the male anatomy what's coming off, but in the female anatomy you can't really see it. It's all underneath, right? So it's all hidden, like it's all up in there. It's not exposed like the male, right? Like that's just crazy.
With the female,
so you're saying
female circumcision, it's 95% of sensation is lost.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So you're saying, and the females are supposed to have twice as much as males do, but you're saying that this adds to this mass psychosis, this crazy.
It almost sounds to me like that phantom, that term, like a phantom limb or the phantom tooth, where I get pain in my mouth where they pulled out a tooth and the tooth isn't there anymore, or people feel like, oh my gosh, my foot is hurting me, but I had to have my leg amputated. So why am I feeling pain where there's no foot? Right. This makes complete sense. Wow.
And then also another thing is that in Canadian hospitals, like in American hospitals, they're pro circumcision, and possibly in Europe as well. But in Canadian hospitals, once you're born, you're given an anti-circumcision flyer. This is what the parents are given, is like explaining that circumcision is bad and it's not healthy, and it addresses the very many myths that people have, thinking why it's good, and then it explains no, it's not good. So we're requesting you not to do it. And so most Canadians are uncircumcised, and so we have very low rapes because of that.
Wow.
And you know what? That would make sense of what the Orion group did with their influence on those ancient Bedouins to make circumcision the law for those people.
Mm-hmm.
They were turning them into psychos.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they've been doing it for thousands of years. Oh gosh, that is humanity.
And then it got into basically the African religions, and then into Judaism, and then into Islam. And so, and those are known as the most violent religions in the world.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And it could be because of the circumcision.
Yes.
Oh.
It's the covenant, right? Like you give it's a blood sacrifice. You cut that off and you give that bit to Yahweh, right? As a blood sacrifice that you're committing to that covenant then.
And
By
then
doing
you-
that, you are committing to that service of the Orion Yahweh.
and then you're part of the chosen people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Right, right.
The
Okay.
Orion chosen people.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
well,
Because
That just adds to another level of twistedness.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Oh my gosh. Like I didn't even know anything about like I mean, obviously growing up, like I, in school I would hear about this or whatever. And it wasn't until my brother had like, because he's significantly older than I am. He started a family while I was still a youngin. And then they had their child, a son. And I remember my brother talking to me, I'm like, so, like the whole talk, like, you're a new dad, like what, you got a son, like, but that's so cool. And he described to me about how, like, yeah, I took my son aside. I was like, this is how you clean your penis. This is how you clean, like, around the skin kind of thing, right?
Right.
And my brother was so excited to be like, and that was when I first found out that my brother wasn't circumcised. I had no idea, right?
Right.
And it makes sense to me because my brother was born in like a little tiny island in the Azores in like 1962, right?
Mhm.
They didn't have that there. And so yeah, it was interesting to me to find that out. And
Yeah.
I had no idea about all of this that I'm learning tonight. Like this is wild. Yeah.
And actually, I remember that in my introductory flyer that I got at the hospital when my son was born, was that
Really?
you don't need to teach them how to clean it or anything because it's self-cleaning.
Oh,
That was another myth that some people had, that they thought.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like,
do that.
and,
So
and,
this-
and it just speaks to me like how, like, if we are fearfully and wonderfully made,
Yeah.
in the one infinite creator, why would I have to chop something off of myself once I'm born?
Exactly.
Or get
That
a
doesn't make
vaccine.
sense.
Hmm.
Or get a
Remember, one of the things
vaccine.
that Jesus came here to do was get people to turn their back on the covenant.
Or
Yeah.
the old covenant. Well, I mean,
The
Paul.
old covenant. What is that covenant, though? That covenant is the blood sacrifice to Yahweh. Basically,
Mhm.
we're not supposed to be chopping the end of our dicks off since Jesus turned up. For God's weird.
Yeah, it's true. It stopped because Paul, what do you call it, said, it's about circumcising your heart. Like the outer
Oh.
hard casing, the hardness of heart that you're supposed to circumcise, not. And this is in the Old Testament too. Like later on, like after Abraham or whatever. Abraham thought it was about the penis, but the later prophets were like, no, it's about circumcising the heart. It's about
Oh.
taking off the hard casing and then allowing love
Wow.
to be for all of the creation. And Jesus demonstrated that, and Paul explained it, and all that things. But yeah, I have to go, guys.
Yeah, I so appreciate the Friday
Yeah.
night meetings as always, Andre. I always learn so much, and I'm glad that you're feeling better. And thank you so much for being on here tonight.
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
definitely missed.
I'm,
And thank you to everyone, Bill and Dan and
Andre.
who stepped in. Yeah.
yeah, I'm planning to go to the Oneself Farmers Market. So if you could pray for me, guys, that all of my muscles and ligaments stay in well coordinated, that would much appreciated. All right.
Sending you healing energy, and sending you, Andre, longevity and sustenance that you need, bodily sustenance for your mission tomorrow.
Thank you. And so
And this put in the light of the Abrahamic religions to a level of insanity that's even higher than I thought.
hear you. All right.
Oh,
So
quickly before I go, Ed, just if you don't mind, Andre, just one second. Ed, I ordered a book, the Dion Fortune book. You're right, but I'm not sure if I ordered the right one. So I don't know how I can, if there's any way I can get a hold of you
Which one did you
outside of the
order?
meeting
Which one did
space.
you order?
It says 366 pages.
Which one did you order?
The how to protect yourself from the psychic attack.
Psychic self-defense.
Yes.
Yes, that is the exact book. You've got the right one. It's brilliant. Enjoy.
And it's over 300 pages. Yes.
That seems about right. Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. That's what I needed to know. Okay, thank you.
As I-
Thank you.
Everyone else is going, are we? We're not going all right.
yeah, you guys
I
can
love you,
stay
guys.
after and chat. I
I
just
would
have
love
to
to
go
stay
and close
after
the
and
stream.
chat.
Okay.
If anyone's onto staying after and chat, I would love to stay after and chat. Good night, Andrii. Have a great day at the farmer's market.
As
Good
I
night,
love you, I
Andrii.
leave you in
Good
the
night.
infinite love and in the infinite peace of the infinite creator all around you and within you, my friends. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in that infinite power and infinite peace. Adonai, Zvorygin.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thank
I
you.
ended the stream.
Mhm.
Okay, see you guys.